Hunter and Julie Dockery, the first missionaries sent out from Redeemer, were home on furlough from Ireland and considering where God might send them. As the world entered into a brand new millennium, the congregation called Hunter to be their pastor. Hunter's tenure has been characterized by a continued movement of church planning and a strong missional impulse for all people to be ambassadors of the gospel in their neighborhoods and workplaces.
You know, just thinking about this time, thinking that Redeemer is approaching her 30th birthday, you know, next year, and just as I thought of that, what a mountain of gratitude we have for the way God has been at work, for all that the Father has done and continues to do through this church family.
And I like just Redeemer's emphasis on the work that Christ has already completed, and that's partly because it was partly because I'm just learning about that in the past 10 years, and so being there really helped me that was emphasized. It's about God's grace, and that I can do nothing, and that I am a complete failure, and that that's okay. I mean, that God knew that was going to happen, but that He's not surprised by all my failures. I mean, learning that's a huge thing because it's changed my life, and so Redeemer has been a big part of that.
Yeah, I think Redeemer, although, like I was saying earlier, we take the Scripture very seriously, there's also this, like, a levity and a graciousness, and so people who are skeptics don't feel threatened, I don't think, at Redeemer. I think it's, people will say when they get into the sanctuary, some people said they started weeping when they walked in there for the first time and heard people praising God the way they did, and there's a warmth. Often hear that word used.
When I first came to Redeemer, well, I've been there several months, a friend said, "Mark, I don't want you to volunteer for anything here for a year. I just want you to just be still and go to the worship service and just don't do anything." And at first that felt like a relief, but I found out it was very difficult because so much of my identity was in my church activity, and I wasn't allowed to do that anymore.
And as I've looked back over the years, I see that it's like people come in for a season. I think Redeemer is sort of a seasoned church. You come in, Redeemer Ardmore, you come in and you're there and you get trained and you get sort of spiritually fit in a way, and just in the terms of the daily application of the gospel. And then I think the Lord sends people out. I think He keeps a core there to do the training for the new people, but I think He sends people out. I mean, I think that's part of the DNA, if you will, of Redeemer, is the sending.
Over the years, as Redeemer has grown numerically, the church has deliberately tried to remain small and geographically based. In the 1990s, Redeemer started several daughter churches, Hope, Grace, and New Hope, as well as Redeemer School. The last 12 years have been marked by even more church planners being sent out from Redeemer. Rick Downs to Christ the King in Boston, Greg Farron to Spring Garden near UNCG, Howie Burkhalter to Summer Oaks in the northwest suburbs of Greensboro, and Clint Dowda to Grace Community in Richmond, Virginia. Men and women struggling with issues of sexual identity have been welcomed and ministered to in the founding of Paracleo. In addition to these five, Steve Angle was called to plant Southside Community Church on the south side of Winston-Salem. Ben Milner was called as pastor of Salem Presbyterian, and Mark Brown was called to begin the first rural urban plant, Redeemer Yadkin Valley.
We struggled a lot to figure out what community looks like here, and you know, we thought about it more as a what does the gathered church and the scattered church look like, and we spent a lot of time wrestling with that and thinking about that, and we broke the city down into neighborhoods and communities, and so that too has been an exciting part.
Very much felt sent out by Redeemer, even though it was the furthest church plant for Redeemer. But both people excited, people supporting in prayer and money. And still to this day, we send out prayer updates, and most of the people are connected to Redeemer who are praying for us and the ministry here.
So I feel like anyone being at Redeemer, if they're there long enough, they kind of get it in them that they feel like, oh, this is what you should do. This is part of what being a Christian is. It's not just hunkering down and trying to get as big as you can and as comfortable as you can, but it's, you know, like you said, being blessed to being a blessing. And as hard as it is to leave people, that you know, but you do that. So.
It's been scary. It's been, but it's wonderful, and I love being there, and I love what we're doing, and I love being I especially love I think we especially love being a part of a community where we're not the dominant culture, where we are amongst a bunch of different people.
Redeemer had started thinking about Yadkin County. And so I said, okay, we'll go out there and pray. And while I was finishing up seminary, I came out here and started praying all over the county, walking and cleaning up trash. So some people kind of knew me as the guy who was picking up trash. Oh, you're the guy who's cleaning up the streets.
There's like open hands to the community. Just reminded me of just the Mercy Ministries and the emphasis on mercy to the community and being involved in our city.
I mean, the number of men who've been sent out of here to as ordained pastors, the number of people that we've sent out as church planters, the number of people who've just gone out with church plants, who've had that kind of vision, is so thrilling to me.
As followers of Christ, it is Redeemer's desire to be part of a connected city and a region-wide network of neighborhood-based congregations, impacting those around them with the gospel where they live, work, and play. As a missional church, Redeemer has always been interested in moving the gospel out, in being a church not just for ourselves, but also one that engages the outsider and the world. What does the future hold for Redeemer? We're not sure, but we know that Christ is there. He wants us to follow him. He's leading, watching, encouraging, pruning, celebrating, and on the move.